Introducing MyRealEstateShow.tv. Please welcome your host and director, Mariah Martin, buyer agent with RE/MAX Real Estate of Allentown.
Hello and welcome to MyRealEstateShow.tv, a real estate talk show geared exclusively for Lehigh Valley home buyers. Our goal is to reveal all of the hidden real estate secrets and give you the confidence you need to take control of your future home purchase. Special guests for today's show include Melissa Falcone, mortgage advisor with Allied Home Mortgage Corporation in Bethlehem, Joe Pawlowski, certified home inspector with Advantage Home Inspection Services in Bethlehem, and also Sonia Bieber, title agent with Lighthouse Abstract in Allentown. On today's show, we're going to be talking about how to find and evaluate your real estate team. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the topics we will be covering in today's show.
Mariah's topics for today's show include how to interview a buyer agent, how a buyer agent gets paid, and what should your buyer agent review with you at your first meeting. Melissa's topics for today's show include what is the difference between a mortgage broker and a bank, and how do I compare good faith estimates. Joe's topics for today's show include what services should you expect from your home inspector and how to choose your home inspection company. And Sonia's topics for today's show include how to select a title company and how to compare title agent fees. Presenting how to interview a buyer agent.
Hello, in today's topic, we're going to talk about insider secrets for interviewing a buyer agent in the Lehigh Valley. Let's think about it for just a minute. What are the important aspects that you would be looking for in a buyer agent to find you a home? Well, I truthfully feel that that's a difficult question to answer because the typical home buyer, the typical consumer, doesn't have the first clue as to even what the first 5 steps to buying a home are. So if you don't know how to buy a home, how can you interview a buyer agent or a real estate agent to help you purchase a home? So that's why I'm going to provide you with some key interview questions to ask a real estate agent that will really impact the way you're treated, what services you get, and how smooth your transaction will flow. So let's get started with these fun questions. Number one of the most important parts is communication. Ask this real estate agent, what is their policy for returning phone calls to you? If their answer is as soon as possible, run the other way. What is as soon as possible? That's no answer at all. The answer should be a minimum of 24 hours. That's realistic. I will get back to all of my buyers within 24 hours. That's what my voicemail says. Number 2, what technology do they have to retrieve email? Guess what we're doing as a buyer agent? We're out showing houses. We're out on the road viewing houses to try and find you a home. Well, that's what I'm doing because I only help buyers. As a listing agent, they're out listing homes and helping sellers. You have to decide who you want to work with, but I can tell you I have a BlackBerry and I retrieve all of my email and get back to all of my clients at a maximum of 1 hour. Most of the time, it's much sooner. Number 3, what are their feelings about text messaging? Now this, I would say 75% of my clients do text messaging. I feel it's one of the best sources of communication because you can do it anywhere, anytime, and in silence. If text messaging isn't important to you, then you don't have to ask this question. But if you're text messaging, you want your real estate agent text messaging too. So that will be important. Can they immediately email you an example of the home search they will set up for you? I can do it. It's called the Client Portal. And it's your individual access to a website that will have all of your properties in a newly matched area, saved area, or rejected area. I can email you an example. What are the first 5 steps to buying a home? That's a great question. How will they help you determine the offer price for a home? How do they feel about representing the buyer and the seller in the same transaction? And what I mean by this is you're a buyer looking to buy a home and you're looking for an agent to represent you in your best interests. Their job is to negotiate for you and ultimately get the house for as least amount of money as possible. I mean, that's their job. So you're buying a home and you're working with a real estate agent, and then all of a sudden you just love the home they have listed because they're also a listing agent. So now all of a sudden they're representing you as a buying agent, and they're also representing the seller in the same transaction. In my opinion, having the same agent when you're buying a home represent the buyer and the seller is like having the same attorney in a courtroom. It just doesn't make sense. You can't negotiate for yourself. A listing agent's job is to get the seller the most money possible and negotiate for their best interests. They can't do both at one time, in my opinion. 2 more questions that I feel would really help you. What is the standard policy? What is their standard policy for presenting an offer? I have one. It's very important. The way you present your offer to the seller agent could make or break the deal. It's really important. And the last question would be, when they set up a home search for you, will they set up a home search looking for both available properties and available with contingency? Really good question. You'll probably blow them away with asking that one. But in a buyer's market, you want to search for homes that are also available with contingency. The reason being is that means that the house is under agreement and there's a condition that must be met before the house goes to settlement. Now, in a buyer's market, if that condition is that the buyer needs to sell their home, the likelihood of it selling quickly is slim, because in a market that we're in right now, in the Lehigh Valley, I believe today we're at about 73 days. I'm sorry, 93 days actually, 93 days on the market. So, you know, it's a good chance that you might, if you're a buyer that doesn't need to sell your home, it's a good chance that you might be able to get that house. It could be the house of your dreams. I hope these interview questions have helped you, and they will help you in the future assess the next buyer's agent you work with.